Welcome to our daily Forex market analysis, and this is for trading on October the 9th, 2019. Just a quick disclaimer here before we get started. This is for educational purposes only. Trading is a risky business, so please be careful with your money. All right, so as usual, we'll start off by looking at our calendar here. So let's go to Forex Factory. All right, so in terms of the data here, we didn't have a ton of data, a reasonably slow day in terms of data here. Now, the things that did have an impact on the markets, one would be Brexit news. So right now, it's from Brexit standpoint, we're not getting positive commentary. So right now we have, or they have trouble getting any kind of consensus going or agreement between the two countries. So as a result of that, we've got problems. So another thing that we have seen going on today, we also have news because now we are supposed to start seeing the US and China trade talks basically picking up again. But in terms of the comments and stuff, we have heard that China is not wanting to, they're not interested in the type of basically US wants a comprehensive deal, and China is not interested in a comprehensive trade deal. And as a result of that, White House is also looking into limiting US government pension investments in Chinese stocks. So all in all, we have problems essentially on that front. So overall, so we have had problems, and as a result, we have seen impact on some of the currencies. We'll take a look at that in just a minute here. In terms of data here, tomorrow we have more data coming out. Important day for the US dollar. First, we have Eurogroup meetings. So any comments that come out, whether they're in regards to Brexit or ECB, those will be important and can have an impact on the markets. We also have crude oil inventories. Last time there was a buildup. Again, if there's a buildup, that will be negative for oil. So we need to keep an eye on this. And then again, we have Powell here. But very, very important, we have FOMC meeting minutes coming out tomorrow. So at this point, not really looking for any kind of interest rate changes at this one. But any commentary that will lead to more expansionary monetary policy is likely to be negative for the US dollar. And if Fed doesn't really give any kind of indication of when further rate cuts will happen or when further QE will happen, in that case, that would be positive for US dollar. So keep an eye on that. All right, so let's go on to our charts now. We'll start off with euro dollar as usual. So yesterday we had talked about how price had failed this level here at 1.103 times. So today price went almost into that level and then dropped from there. So we have another bearish candle close. Now looking for price to continue further. In terms of our pullback here, so the bias is to the downside. In terms of the pullback here, I would look at potentially 1.0970 level or even 1.0980 as a potential pullback level. And the first target here still is 1.0930, and then the second target is 1.0900. So bias is bearish for euro dollar. Pound dollar, a big drop here in pound, and now looking for a continuation to the downside. Our target here, first target is 1.2150, then 1.20. So in terms of the pullback, I will look for a potential pullback into 1.2250 and then a drop from there. So something like this. So bias here is bearish. So bearish bias for pound dollar, Aussie dollar here. Next, this one here, bias is to the downside. We have a bearish candle close. So looking for further downside here. And in terms of our targets here, I would look for 0.6700 back into the support level, and then 0.6680, or actually 0.6670. So let's go with 0.6670. So our bias is to the downside, looking for price to come and test the bottom of the green candle here, as well as the next pin as the second target. So bearish bias here. In terms of the pullback, we could get a pullback into 0.6740 and then a drop from there. So bias here is bearish for Aussie dollar. New Zealand dollar here, this one also we have a pin bar, so looking for price to drop further. And in terms of the target here, I'm looking at a potential pullback first into 0.6315, and then into the base of these candles, 0.6250 is the first target. And if it goes through, 0.6220 is the second target. So bearish bias here for New Zealand dollar as well. Dollar CAD here, this one is still going sideways. Yesterday we saw price went and tested the bottom here at 1.3280 here, and then it has pushed up. Right now it's still sideways, bias is neutral. We do have a bullish candle here, so this one could go higher into the top like that, into 1.3350, and then potentially come back into the range here. So overall, my bias is neutral. I'm just looking for price to be range bound here for dollar CAD. Let's take a look at our silver here, commodities. For silver, bias is bullish here. Price went into support, couldn't go through. So now we have a bullish candle close. So bullish bias here, 18 is the first target, 81.25 is the second target. So here we also need to keep an eye on what happens with our with the US and China relationship, the negotiations that are going on, trade negotiation. So if we see further issues with that, we're likely to see safe haven assets go up. So gold and silver tend to go up when there's uncertainty, like I said before. So bias here is bullish, just keep that in mind. 18, first target, 18.25, second target for silver. Gold here, this is also looking bullish, so looking for it to go higher. 1520 is the first target, and then we're looking at 1530 or 1535 as the second target. So bias here is bullish here for gold, same as silver. Now, something to keep in mind is that once price gets into this 1520 level, this is an important support resistance level. So keep an eye on that. If it doesn't go through, this one could go back down. So for now, bias is bearish for gold here as well. Sorry about that. Oil here, this one is neutral. Now we have seen a rejection here and it's making a lower high. So my bias is more to the downside. We do have a neutral candle close, which means it could go towards the support here, and then it could do one of these. So be mindful of the support level at 51.90. If it doesn't go through, it can go back up into the range. But I'm looking for more of a downside. And once we see a breakdown through here, we're likely to see a further drop here into 50.80 or even 50.50. So let me just, so 50.50, yeah. So 50.80 and then 50.50 will be the two targets to the downside. So for now, it's neutral to bearish for oil. Copper here, copper is looking bearish. We have a nice bearish pin bar. So I will look for price to drop. 2.49 is the target to the downside for copper. Bitcoin here still going sideways. It's been in this range for a number of days. So bias is still neutral. I'm looking for it to trade between 8,500 and essentially 7,700 here. So neutral bias still going sideways. S&P 500, this is what we were talking about. yesterday or in just a little while ago, US and China trade relations negotiations not going so well has a negative impact on equities and positive impact on safe haven assets. So with equities dropping, we have seen gold and silver go up, as well as the yen, Japanese yen, and Swiss franc. So looking for equities to drop further here. Now, should the tone change, if there are positive developments in the negotiations, then this one could turn around and go up. But for now, I'm looking for this one to go down towards 2850 level here. So bias is bearish here for S&P 500, and 2850 is the target to the downside. NASDAQ here, same thing. It went into the resistance and dropped. So bias is bearish here, looking for a continuation lower. First target 75.20 and then 74.50. Those will be the two targets. In terms of pullback, we can look at 76.25 or even into 76.40. So those are a couple of levels I would keep an eye on for pullbacks, and then looking for a drop here. So bearish bias for NASDAQ here. DAX, same thing. Price was into resistance. We have seen a nice bearish engulfing candle here. So looking for price to drop further into 11,800 level. So bias is bearish for DAX here. FTSE, a bearish engulfing candle close, same thing. We had talked about this resistance yesterday. So price couldn't go through, and now we have a drop here. So looking for price to drop further, bias is bearish. We could get a potential pullback into 71.60 level, and then looking for a further drop here. Bearish bias, first target is 70.80 and then 70.45. So that's bearish. Last but not least, we have Nikkei here. This is bearish as well. But do keep in mind, we are pretty much into support here. So price has struggled here previously. So keep that in mind at 21,280. So we need to see a break through that support for a continuation lower. But bias is to the downside here as well. So we saw nice rejection. Now looking for price to drop further. So this one is showing a nice trendy kind of move. So price dropped, pull back, dropped, pull back, and then looking for this drop again. Target will be 21,100 and second target at 21,000. So bias is bearish here for Nikkei as well. Any questions before we wrap it up? Okay, if not, we'll call it a wrap. You guys have a wonderful trading day tomorrow, and I'll see you again tomorrow evening. Bye for now.